Welcome to Virtual Japan as we are here today for round number 6.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Fultz. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away. Go for the first time, Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Doms, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Spark Truck Series here at the Spark Racing League. Our virtual competitors head out to Rockingham Speedway to do battle, and it's looking forward to be another great race. As always, I'm your host, James Eastwood, Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second, as right now qualifying is underway for these drivers. And let's take a look and see how things are going for the field right now on pole. It's Jacob Bradley, the number 50 machine. Let's see who else is out on track. We've got Chris Smith, the number 28 Ford F-150, looking for his qualifying time. 13 drivers have put down a time so far. I believe it's 21 or 22 entries out here tonight at Rockingham. Drivers were saying the truck and track combination very slick, very loose here. As you saw Smith fighting that back end, wiggling around just a little bit. Smith on his outlap puts that number 28 up into fourth. Can he improve on a 23.98? And the answer is unfortunately not a 24.03. Nick Serif climbs up the leaderboard up into the 11th place spot with a 24.14, but Jacob Bradley clicked off that 23.87, is currently still in pole position as we do not have much time left in qualifying. About 45 seconds left to go, and then we'll send him right out for our grid. Serif is second time by a 24.22, so it seems like that first flying lap is where drivers able to put down the best times possible, and I'm not seeing anybody else out on circuit. We got John Rapp here cheering on Chase. I think it's going to be Chase Berry, number 46 machine. Chase did not put down a time in qualifying. Must have tagged the wall at some point. That will invalidate the lap time if you have any big issues during qualifying. And it looks like it's only going to be 15 drivers put down the time so far here tonight. Now, while we're getting ready for this event to start, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor or device, and if they don't, they just about always go back and watch this thing over again. And let's go ahead and run through the grid for today on pole. You've got Jacob Bradley, the number 50 machine. Zach Roethlisberger starting second. Hunter Gio starts third. Chris Smith starting fourth. Ellis Thomas starting fifth. Johnny Rapp starting sixth. Devin Jack starting seventh. Sam Cosner starting eighth. Peter Stewart starting ninth. Clifton Simmons starting 10th. Nick Serif starting 11th. Dave Grajewski starts 12th. Let's cycle it on back. Robert Brope starting 13th. Ashton Cosner starts 14th. Steve Vest starting 15th. Chase Berry starting 16th. Brian Brope starting 17th. Abram Ghostin starting, that's going to be 18th. Mark Fish starts 19th. Paul Thomas starting 20th. And Patrick Hartgrove will round out the 21 truck here today. Get those predictions in, ladies and gentlemen. Hunter Gio getting some love from the fans as Gio will be starting third here tonight. 98 laps on the board for these competitors. And we are rolling out behind the iRacing safety car for 98 laps here at Rockingham. Coming into tonight, Nathan Jump shows as the points leader. Jacob Bradley second in points. Zach Roethlisberger third in the point standings. Safety car is in pit road. And we are underway. Green flag racing here at Rockingham, the Spark Truck Series here at the Spark Racing League. Let's see how things are going to go, as drivers were telling us how loose and slippery things were out on the track surface. Roethlisberger is going to hold on to second, fending off Hunter Gio. If we go a little bit further back, Robert Brope side by side with Dave Grajewski in the battle for 12th. You can also see Ashton Cosner, Chase Berry there in the fray. A little bit further back up front, Chris Smith trying to make grounds against Hunter Gio. Smith working, oh no, look at the huge run from Gio there in the 33. Propels himself back up. Smith and Thomas were right in tow there, 4th and 5th. But Gio had quite the exit speed there. Jacob Bradley, he was the odds-on favorite to do well here tonight, has pulled a 3/4 of a second advantage over the rest of the field. If we go back there, it's still a battle for 12th. Grajewski and Brobes linked up 12th and 13th. Ashton Cosner, Chase Berry, Brian Brobes not too far behind, but there's smoke up ahead. That's going to be Sam Cosner, had some sort of moment, able to hold on to it there in the 38. But Cosner's going to fall all the way back to 16th now. And for the most part, looks like our field content running single file here. We check in on Chris Smith, piloting the number 28 Ford F-150, sitting in 4th exactly as he's qualified. The top 7 right now on the leaderboard, running exactly as they qualified. Hard charger at the moment is going to be Patrick Hartgrove, the number 74. He is up 4 positions. Looks like Devin Jack starting to make some grounds now against Johnny Rapp. Rapp is phenomenal at tire saving and long green flag runs, so hopefully we get to see some of those tonight. Maybe see a green flag pit stop with a little bit of luck here. Brian Brobes picks up the 14th place position against Ashton Cosner. Cosner's also going to lose a spot to Sam Cosner here, falling back just a little bit. Now down 2 spots from where he originally qualified. Tonight, I believe the story is going to be mostly battling the track and tire wear, more so than it's going to be battling each other, so to speak. Especially if we can get some long green flag runs going. Here's the battle for 5th. Devin Jack works the outside line against Ellis Thomas. Let's see if Johnny Rapp, number 52, as well as Peter Stewart, running 7th and 8th, can close the gap a little bit and work themselves maybe a little bit closer to the top 5 here. Jacob Bradley still comfortably out front, 8/10 up over the rest of the field. I can see Peter Stewart trying to keep the pressure up on Johnny Rapp, and that's going to be the battle for 6th. But big, tight packs everywhere we look here at Rockingham. Cosner and Cosner. No, it's going to be Cosner versus Brian Brobes. As Sam Cosner moves up into 14th, there's Ashton Cosner sitting in 16th, watching the 34, but he's fallen back a little bit from Sam Cosner. Robert Brobes has made his 4th pass of the night. Now up 4 spots in the 9th position, squarely inside the top 10 here. There's Brooks, the orange and white number 5 Chevrolet, trying to track down Peter Stewart, our second fastest Canadian out on track. Right now the fastest Canadian position owned by Devin Jack, the number 49 Ford. He is up into 5th place so far tonight after qualifying 7th. Grajewski and Barry having a battle for 12th. Grajewski had to chase that truck a little bit to avoid tagging the outside wall. Thankfully, no incidents reported so far. We had that big slide earlier from Sam Cosner, but other than that, it's been clean racing so far. I'm a little surprised after the carnage we were seeing in open practice where drivers were trying to find the limit. I was thinking there's going to be a lot more incidents early on. Now it's going to be interesting to see how that changes as the trucks start to tighten up. Specifically, Robert Brobes, pilot the number 5, told us that this truck and this track really wears out the front right tire on these racing machines. Let's pan over to Jacob Bradley, your race leader. Has nothing but clean air on the front of that number 50. Now average lap times are around 24 to 25 seconds. So he is about 8 seconds away before he starts approaching lap traffic, but really everybody inside the top 10 very equally matched on pace here so far tonight. Still 21 drivers out on track on the lead lap. As there's Hunter Gio sitting in 3rd in the 33. He's got Chris Smith and Devin Jack fairly close behind, but I also wonder as well, as these trucks start to tighten up over the run, how difficult is it going to be for these competitors to try and make passes here at Rockingham? A little bit further back, Devin Jack closing up to Chris Smith. And so far, a fairly calm race here at Rockingham, despite how many drivers are running pretty tight packs. We check in on Nick Seraph, the number 67. He's got Clifton Simmons, Dave Grajewski, Chase Berry, Sam Cosner, Brian Brobst, all running just about nose to tail here. Nobody's more than a half second apart from each other. Running 10th through 15th right now. Now we're not quite sure what the fuel numbers are going to be for these drivers. They're running 90% allotment in the tank. So they should be able to go, I would imagine, close to the halfway mark here. And things are starting to tighten up here in the battle for 10th. Clifton Simmons in the number 88. I'm used to him being in the 38. Starting to close up to Seraph, going to take to the peek to the inside line. Dave Grajewski, the number 6, is going to try and follow suit here. And keep an eye out, there's Chase Berry and Sam Cosner in the fray. We know Cosner has great pace after his qualifying in the 8th place position. Ooh, and a big hit there between, that was Berry and Grajewski, I believe. And no, that was Grajewski and Cosner. Cosner falling back a little bit in the 38, back to 15. And this is the vortex of danger we talk about just about weekly here. Drivers really bunched up. The tires are starting to fall off. To give an example, Grajewski last time by at 25.67, 1.3 seconds off his fastest lap of the race. And this is really where all the action is 10th through about 15th place. Jacob Bradley, your race leader, has 1.1 seconds up over Zach Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger has a full second up over third place Hunter Gio. Very impressed with the racecraft we're seeing from these guys. Barry makes a move up the inside line of Nick Seraph. Now Clifton Simmons is going to try and work that inside line against the 67 as well. Right behind them, Brooks and Grajewski side by side for 13. We hinted 3 wide action here at Rockingham. Don't get to see that very often. Ryan Brobst being aggressive on the inside line, the number 11, but a big blink there from Brobst. At a very inopportune time, the drivers behind have no idea where he's going to reappear at. And this is the great racing we've come to expect each and every week here at the Spark Racing Truck Series. Brobst and Grajewski side by side. Grajewski hits the wall. And who was that he cleared out? Did Cosner get away from that unscathed? If so, that was lucky. Well, let's get the replay queued up here. So that was the 38. Of Sam Cosner. Got absolutely slammed there as Grajewski came off the wall. Oh, and what a precarious position for Grajewski to be in here. Thankfully, it doesn't look like anybody else was tied up in that one. That's going to be our first caution of the night as your race leader, Jacob Bradley, leads the field down pit road. And just about everybody here is going to take 4 fresh tires and a full tank of gas to get these things wicked back up, ready to go. So Barry coming in a pit road late here after our first caution of the night. It's going to be Bradley and Gio on the front row. Gio moving up into second. Smith, number 28, now showing a third. Chase Berry and Steve Vest on pit road. So Barry did something different. He came down pit road a second time, took some more fuel to get back out there. Steve Vest still on pit road, still showing 21 drivers out on track. Dave Grajewski, the number 6, will receive an EOL for causing the caution. Here we go with Bradley out front once more. Now cautions tend to breed caution, so let's see how things go. Drivers were getting used to a truck that was tightening up over the run. Now they've all got fresh sets of tires underneath them. Having to be a little bit more careful until those tires come to terms with the asphalt. It looks like I heard some impact from somebody. Couldn't quite see who that was as Devin Jack charging forward, the number 49, side by side with Johnny Rapp. That's going to be the battle for fifth. I've got to say, this might be some of the best racing we've seen out of these truck drivers in a little while. There's been great action all across the track. We got close to a green flag stop before that caution reared its head. Roethlisberger has moved up into third, the number 93 machine. Roethlisberger was almost a full second slower than anybody else on pit road, so not quite sure what the issue was there. But able to capitalize, come back out, and start hammering off some fast lap times. Now, interesting as well, Gio keeping pace with race leader Jacob Bradley. Bradley pulled almost a 1.5 second advantage in the first run, but Gio doing a good job keeping the 50 of Bradley within about 0.2 of a second on this opening run. So Gio showing he's got the short run pace, but if this thing keeps to go green, I wonder how the tire fall off is going to be a factor. We've got about 15 laps left to go before the halfway mark of tonight. And that first run, the only reason we had a caution was one driver, Grajewski, had a little bit of a problem and came across the back of another and ended up spinning himself more than anything. Also, as Gio is trying to track down Bradley for the lead, Roethlisberger has company from Smith, Jack, Rapp, and not too far trailing behind is Brian Brobst, Peter Stewart, Ellis Thomas, Robert Brobst, all in a nice tight pack. Now, Brian Brobst and Patrick Hardgrove are both up 10 positions so far here in this feature event. A little bit further back, Ellis Thomas, Peter Stewart linked up just inside the top 10, a battle for 8th as they run single file. They're about a half second ahead, no, making about 3/4 of a second ahead of Robert Brobst. Something must have just happened to Brobst there. He must have had a moment because he lost a whole lot of time there. And that is going to put Robert Brobst in the sideline for Patrick Hardgrove. Peter Stewart, Ellis Thomas side by side here. Now, every time these drivers go side by side, try and make a pass, it slows down their pace just a little bit and allows those behind them to close back up. Now, Stewart is up 1 spot from where he started. Thomas is down 4. Our Charger remains now as Brian Brobst, still up those 10 positions. forward with Ellis Thomas, number 8, Ford F-150, trying to track down that 91 Chevrolet of Peter Stewart. And you can hear the heavy lifts on the throttle to try and get those trucks settled into the corners here at Rockingham. Looks like a three-truck battle shaping up for that final top 10 position as Robert Brooks, number 5, trying to hold on to it here, but Nick Seraph and Sam Cosner, those are two very fast drivers looking to squeeze a little bit further ahead in the standings, especially Cosner, who's had a bit of a tough start here at Rockingham. Has the pace to be up in the top 10, if not the top 5, but look at this. Robert Brooks gets shoved out of the way by Nick Seraph. Brooks tags the outside wall, almost collects Cosner. Cosner's going to have flashbacks here, and now Clifton Simmons going to try and get around that number 5 machine. So just like that, Robert Brooks falls back to 12th. Seraph moves up in that final 10 position, final top 10 position. And it looks like now Cosner wants a piece of it. So this is the frantic battle for the top 10 we're having here. Just about to the halfway mark of today's main event. On lap 49, drivers will be displayed the cross green and white flag signaling the halfway mark. Seraph and Cosner still going at it here for the top 10. Cosner lifts a little bit there to avoid tagging the corner panel of Seraph. And I think I just saw Cosner dragging against the wall a little bit. And that's going to allow Robert Brooks the chance to grab a position back. But, I mean, you still have Brooks, Simmons, and Hardgrove right here. Next time by, Jacob Bradley, your race leader, will be displayed the cross green and white flags, the halfway mark. We've had one caution so far halfway through the race. Been some of the cleanest runnings we've seen from these drivers in quite a while. Brooks slots up into 12th. Patrick Hardgrove looks to the inside line through 1 and 2. And you're already seeing the tires falling off here. Also got a report of a big blink there from Brian Brooks, the number 11. Brian Brooks still our hard charger up 10 positions. And let's check in on Chris Smith and Devin Jack, still linked up nose to tail for 4th. And something else going on, a battle for 8th. Ellis Thomas, Peter Stewart side by side. Everywhere we look, there's great racing to be found here at Rockingham. With how the drivers were grumbling before today's main event, I would have never predicted the racing would be this good for these drivers. There is Rapp trying to fight back against Brian Brooks. Brooks just made his 11th pass of the night, up into 6th in the Toyota Tundra. So Brian Brooks absolutely ripping here. And historically, I've seen Brian Brooks do very well at the technical tracks every time he's out on there. It seems to be the more of the cookie cutter situations that Brian Brooks has found himself on the outside looking in of a top 5. So keep an eye on that number 11. If he can avoid any incidents, big incidents this season, I think he can definitely be a top 5 contender in that championship here at the Spark Racing League. And again, right now it's Nathan Jump, Jacob Bradley, Zach Roethlisberger, Nick Seraph, and Robert Brobst, currently the top 5 of the season. Still a frantic battle for the top 10. Cosner had a big run. Seraph goes up against the wall there. Can Cosner capitalize? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to. And now Robert Brobst trying to engage the old slingshot and see if he can make it a 2-for-1. Here comes Cosner at the inside line of Seraph. Seraph drags the outside wall. Looked like Simmons was going to go for it as well. Backs out of it. And man, Seraph and Cosner still side by side. So Cosner not able to make the pass stick against Seraph. Now Clifton Simmons wants to interject himself here and see if he can squeeze into a top 10 position. And Cosner way up against the wall there, trying to diamond the corners a little bit. And these drivers, 3 drivers, Seraph, Cosner, Simmons, trying to lock up that top 10 position, having a very tough time of it. It's been back and forth, a bit of an accordion action here. Cosner keeps taking a peek to the inside line of Seraph, but Seraph seems to be carrying just a little bit more corner speed. And I've got to wonder, is that inside line chewing up a little bit more tire? As Cosner has to control the car for the trucks from pushing up the track. And that might allow Seraph to save a little bit more as he stays up against the safety barrier. Cosner has a big run here. Can he finally get clear of the 67? And what is Clifton Simmons going to do? Oh, Seraph, a big bump there against the wall. Actually helped the truck turn in a little bit there, so that might have worked out well for Seraph. Oh, there's contact between the two. Cosner on the outside gets checked by Seraph. I don't think anything intentional. I think the tires are just falling off so badly. Drivers are tending to drift up the track. They're about 1.7 seconds off their fastest laps of the race. And if Cosner has any tires left there, I think he's going to hammer down and try and get away from Seraph and Simmons. There goes Simmons up the inside line of Seraph. He saw Cosner do it. He wants to try the same. And he's going to make quick work of it. Now things are getting a little bit tighter up here for second as well, as Hunter Gio and Zach Roethlisberger nose to tail. There's a little bit of lap traffic in play. That was Chase Berry, the number 46, going to go a lap down to the leaders. Jacob Bradley, your race leader, 1.7 seconds up over the rest of the field here. Running a very clean race and keeping the tires underneath them, as Roethlisberger and Gio still going back and forth here. Roethlisberger has fought his way back up into second, his original qualifying position. Right now, the only person in the top 5 who is not running where they qualified is going to be Devin Jack, the number 49 machine. And Jacob Bradley, the lone Chevrolet in a top 5, absolutely packed full of Fords, but something happened. Nick Seraph shows involved in an incident. Parked on the infield. Let's see what happened there. He's way up against the wall. Slams down into Robert Brobst, who had no idea it was coming. And Seraph disappeared there for a little bit. So thankfully nobody else tied up in that one. Just Seraph and Robert Brobst with a little bit of impact there, but that will be enough for our second caution of the night. And I think you're going to see everybody coming back down pit road. And this should be enough fuel and tires to make it to the end here. Now, this will be just about everybody's last sets of tires available. As it is a very busy pit road. Looks like Chase Berry stays out. And he has to let Johnny Rapp back by. I'm wondering if he got out ahead of Jacob Bradley, who was rolling out of pit road. And is Berry going to come down pit road after, I think, in the 46? It looks like Serif's coming down pit road. Berry is going to follow suit here, so coming in a lap later, getting back on the lead lap before deciding to pit. So it looks like, though, all 21 drivers still out on track, and it looks like maybe 19 drivers on the lead lap. I'm not sure if Serif is going to stay on the lead lap here. Serif's in pit road for 14 seconds and counting. So I think that number 67 is going to have some damages he has to get repaired before he gets back out on track. Chase Berry's rolled back out on track. We've also got Steve Vest still in his pit stall. Next time they cross the line, it's going to be 30 laps left to go here at Rockingham. Looks like 19 drivers out on track. Let's make it 20 as Serif rolls back out onto the circuit. So 19 drivers out on track. Excuse me, 20 drivers out on track. 19 on the lead lap here. As Serif is going to hammer down to try and catch up to the field here before the start. It's going to be 29 laps left to go once we get to the start-finish line. The safety car's lights are off. Looks like all 21 drivers back out on track now. Serif and Vest are going to be battling for that lucky dog position, hoping there's a late race caution to get them back in the mix. That's going to be Rapp and Bradley, your front row. Rapp was a very quick pit stop, 7.4. I wonder if he just took fuel here. Well, let's see what Rapp can do on possibly the older tires, that 52 machine. Oh, I think Bradley's going to make quick work of him here. Bradley shoots back up for the race lead. Here comes Gio and Smith trying to dethrone Johnny Rapp, who's trying something different on strategy. I'm wondering if Rapp thinks there's going to be another caution, and that way he can have the freshest tires out on the circuit. If that's the case, it's a big gamble for the pilot of number 52, but we've seen crazier things happen. Rapp falling very quickly back to 6th, hemorrhaging time against the drivers with fresh tires. Jacob Bradley's taking back over the race lead. Gio in 2nd, Smith up into 3rd. So if I was Johnny Rapp and that 52 has already fallen back to 8th, I'm going to hope there's a caution with about 15 laps left to go here. If the caution comes too early, he doesn't really give himself that much of an advantage. But that's also assuming that we will get a caution. These drivers have been running extremely well here tonight. The only big truck-on-truck impact we've seen is where a driver has a moment and then can't avoid tagging somebody else. And here's a battle for you. You've got Fish making a move against Johnny Rapp, and right behind them, oh, who is that? That was something just happened to Dave Grajewski, and we are going to get that caution as Grajewski lets the magic smoke out there. So what happened here? Somebody was up against the wall. That was the 34 of Ashton Cosner. Grajewski can't get checked up in time. Slams the back of Cosner. And then has to go back to the virtual trailer. Yeah, nowhere to go for Grajewski on that one. And Robert Brobst almost got a big piece of it there, the number 5. So there we go, our third caution of the night. And we're fairly certain Johnny Rapp might be coming down pit road for this one. There's Robert Brobst down pit road. Is Rapp staying out, I wonder? We're fairly confident he's got 2 more tires behind the wall. Yeah, Benson's saying that Grajewski has not had the best of luck. And unfortunately, that's the case. Such a great guy off the track, but if Dade hasn't had bad luck, he hasn't had any luck the last couple weeks. So that's going to whittle it down to 19 drivers out on track. 20 drivers out on track. Robert Brobst in pit road for an extended stay, getting some repairs done on that number 5 machine. Very surprised that Rapp didn't come down pit road on this cycle. At this point, I would say it's going to be a massive gamble, thinking there's going to be one more caution. As we are officially less than 25 laps left to go here. Ashton Cosner, Nick Seraph down pit road, trying to get some last-minute repairs done. Now I'm curious, are we going to run this thing out, or are we going to have one more caution here tonight? If not, more than one caution. We are gridded up what could be the final time of the evening. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's Bradley up front. Hunter Gio in second, but he's going to have his hands full with Chris Smith ripping the inside line right behind them. Jack and Thomas side by side for fourth. Now this is where drivers are going to have a little bit less patience as they're going to try and make some big moves here in the closing laps at Rockingham. And it's going to be a bit of a meat grinder here in the top 5. Look who's rejoined us up here. Sam Cosner in the 38. After a rough start to the evening, has fought his way just outside the top 10. Talk about a comeback story. It also looks like Hunter Gio doing a better job of keeping Jacob Bradley in check here. Less than 20 laps left to go here at Rockingham. Brian Brobst is having some connection issues in that number 11 machine as he's right behind Sam Cosner. Peter Stewart, the number 91, is going to check up a little bit, not wanting to get too close to Brobst, not knowing where he's going to magically reappear at, as it looks like Brobst putting the pressure on Cosner here. Now, even though it's the tail end of this feature event, drivers still have to be mindful of the tire wear, especially somebody like Cosner who's been hammering down the throttle to try and regain positions wherever he can find them. Brobst trying to set up for an inside move into turn 1. It's a big send for the number 11 Toyota driver. If he can make this stick, that's going to be his 11th spot gained here tonight. And it looks like he might get clear of the 38 of Cosner. Cosner looks back down the inside line, but it's not going to have the run to challenge Brobst. Hunter Gio in second has pressure from Ellis Thomas. As Jacob Bradley, Mr. Consistent out front, the number 50 machine, clicking off laps and making it look easy here at the technical racetrack at Rockingham. We go back up front. There's Jacob Bradley. The red, white, and black. Hunter Gio sits in second. Ellis Thomas in third. Smith and Jack round out the top 5 here. Thomas doing everything he can to get that number 8 machine rotated and back on the throttle. Trying to find any opening he can against Hunter Gio. But he's also stuck in that dirty air off the back of the 33 machine, running second. He's closed the gap to right at 1/10 of a second. Thomas diamonding the corners here, going way up against the wall, cutting down, trying to get a bigger run off the corners. He's going to pull up alongside Gio. Gio is going to have the inside line here. Thomas staying to that outside groove. Looks like it might be working for him here. And Thomas will nice and clean to make his way up into second. Let's see, can Thomas keep this up and try and track down Jacob Bradley? Bradley a half second up over the rest of the field. Sam Stoner joined us cheering on Peter Stewart, who's worked his way up into 8th and confirming that Grajewski not known for his great luck. Thomas has broken away from Hunter Gio and is slowly reeling in Jacob Bradley. Running not quite a 10th faster per lap than the race leader. So he has enough laps if all things stay the same to challenge for the lead, but what's the tire wear gonna say? And does Bradley have a little bit left in the proverbial tank here? Looks like Bradley wicked it up a little bit, running about 0.07 of a second faster than Thomas last time by. And if we go back here, here's the battle for 9th. Chase Berry tucked in behind Peter Stewart. Stewart's tucked in behind Roethlisberger. But Rockingham has really lent itself to some great racing here tonight. Ten laps left to go here at the Spark Truck Series, here at the Spark Racing League. Barry's going to try the outside line against Stewart. Stewart will fall back to that final top 10 position. And while that's going on, Chris Smith has some momentum built up as he challenges Hunter Gio for that final podium spot. It's going to be 8 laps left to go as Jacob Bradley crosses the line as your race leader. Bradley just about 7/10 up over Thomas. Gio holding on to the 3rd place spot with everything he's got against Chris Smith. Oh, these two have about a half-second advantage over Devin Jack, who sits in 5th. So they're not slowing the pace down too badly, and it looks like they're catching up to Ellis Thomas a little bit here. Now, barring some mistake, I think Jacob Bradley might have this one locked up, but it is all but decided for the rest of the top 5. Seven laps to go. We've had 3 cautions. We still have 20 of our 21 entries out on track. And we've got a 3-truck battle for 2nd shaping up. It's Thomas, Gio, Smith, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Devin Jack starting to close the gap behind, but he knows with only 5 laps left to go, there is not going to be much time to make big moves. And speaking of big moves, Barry and Cosner still having a battle here in 8th. Brian Brooks holding on to the 7th place spot. Peter Stewart's gotten shuffled back to 10th, but still a top 10 drive here. Is quite a good run when the talent is so deeply stacked. 3 wide at Rockingham. Peter Stewart licks the stamp and sends it, gains 2 spots quickly there. What a great move from the Canadian. He's keeping the pressure up immediately off the back of Brian Brooks for 2nd. Man, this is fantastic racing. Stewart and Brooks side by side for 7th. Meanwhile, you still have a dogfight up ahead for 2nd. Thomas has pressure from Gio, Smith, and now Devin Jack, the number 49 machine, can smell a possible podium. Jacob Bradley, 1.7 seconds to go ahead. He will get the white flag next time by, as we've got 2 frantic battles, a 4-truck battle for 2nd, Thomas, Gio, Jack, and Smith, and then a 4-truck battle for 7th, Stewart, Barry, Brian Brooks, and Sam Cosner. White flag is out here at Rockingham. Jacob Bradley has pulled an entire zip code over the rest of the field, over 2 seconds. And we wait to see how the podium's going to be decided here. Smith takes a spot back against Devin Jack. Checkered flag is out. Jacob Bradley picks up the win here tonight. And it's going to be Ellis Thomas in 2nd and Hunter Gio in 3rd. What a fantastic race. Tip of the hat as well. Peter Stewart finishing in 7th. With one of the best late race drives I've seen in a hot minute here. And Jacob Bradley, a well-deserved burnout here after a dominant win. As we're waiting on Bradley, Thomas, and Gio to make their way up to the waiting room. Looks like we've got Thomas So we're on second call. We've got Gio. So we will get things started here tonight. So we're going to start things off with third place, Mr. Hunter Gio. Hunter, welcome to the top 3, man. And you guys in the top 5 are putting on one heck of a show out there.
Yeah, there at the end, man, we were really cutting it up back there. It was a good time, fun racing. Just glad it could be clean.
Yeah, how much fun is that knowing that everybody around you has the talent, the ability to keep things clean, and we didn't have any net code. I mean, it was just pure door-to-door racing, and I mean, that's as good as you can ask for, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so refreshing. Like, we're all pushing hard. We all know at the end of the day, we're not going to take each other out. We're going to give each other the respect we deserve and have a clean race.
Well, it seemed like a ton of fun. Now, at the end of those runs, Hunter, how was the tire starting to feel on these trucks? Was it tightening up? Because it looked like they were pretty darn loose when you guys started a run.
Yeah, there at the beginning, the first run or so, it got kind of loose for me, but I got a little bit of damage on the right side, and for me, it just got tight from there on no matter what.
Well, Hunter, a great run out there in third. That was a blast for us to call up in the booth. I know the fans enjoyed it as well. And before I let you go and unwind from this one, who do you want to give a shout to that helped make this podium possible for you?
Mainly just want to shout out the Spark guys. You know, I'm pretty new here. I was just looking for a good league to have fun, and this sure brought it.
Well, welcome to the family, Hunter. Hopefully we'll have you up here a bunch throughout the season, and a great job on third here tonight. That was Hunter Gio bringing it home in third. Up next, we've got Mr. Ellis Thomas join us in the number 8 machine. Ellis, walk us through those final laps because Hunter was just telling us, and we agreed, that looked like a blast for you guys.
Man, it absolutely was a blast. Shout out to you guys for a great broadcast, first of all. Appreciate y'all talking to me. But yeah, I was rolling the top. I did it, was kind of doing it right before that last restart, and I kept it rolling. I knew that I was going to burn off the tires at some point. I just didn't know when kind of that crossover point was going to be. And I think it was with about 10 laps to go or so. So I thought initially I might have had something for the 50 truck, but it just was not to be. So I was glad to hold on to second. It was good racing all night long. These guys show a lot of respect, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. So it was awesome.
Yeah, we pointed that out in the broadcast, kind of diamonding the corners and getting, I mean, a fantastic run using that mid to high groove. So with that, are you wedging the front right more into the track, and is that what's causing the more aggressive tire fall off with that line choice?
Yeah, just the higher speeds off the corner, and it started to push at the end, which kind of compounded, exponentially the tire wear. So yeah, just driving off particularly the right front on exit, caused me to have the most frustration. But I knew it was going to happen. It was kind of a risk versus reward, and ultimately, I think it was a reward just to finish second against Jacob. So.
Yeah, you guys put on all a great show in the top 5. Door-to-door racing, kept it nice and clean. A lot of fun to watch. Hopefully it was half as much fun for you guys to drive as it was from our perspective in the booth. But man, Alice, what a great run out there.
Man, it was absolutely fun. Shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Shout out to Spark Racing League and the admin for putting it on and running such a good show. And shout out to my sponsor, Apex Energy, as well.
Awesome. Ellis, a pleasure having you up here in the top 3. Hopefully we'll see you up here a bunch throughout the season.
Hey, man, we're going to try. Thanks, James.
Thank you, sir. That was Mr. Ellis Thomas joining us in the second place spot. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome back, Jacob Bradley, in a dominant run here at Rockingham.
Hey, gotcha.
Hi, Jacob.
Hi. Hey, it was just a little bit of a casual Sunday drive, you know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it looked like it from the perspective of the number 50 machine. Every time somebody reeled up a little bit closer behind you, looked like you put down the macchiato, adjusted the rearview mirror, and go, oh, I guess I need to use the throttle a little bit more. And just like that, immediately pulled back away from everybody.
The clean air was pretty nice, and I had a pretty good idea of what I was going to do on old tires, and that just let me kind of manage my pace and dictate how everybody was going to follow behind me, and it just was a waiting game at that point. I was a little bit nervous we get a caution there with like maybe 10 to go, because I thought that would be just enough time for some people who may have saved a set to come back at us. But we held on, and good race for us. We led pretty much flag to flag. I think John stole a couple laps, but that was pretty good.
Now, I don't know if you had any idea how frantic things were behind you. You talked about the fear of a late race caution, and you had 4 drivers behind you going 2 wide, 3 wide, door to door, all batting for those final podium positions. And there was more risk to the number 50 machine than I wonder if you realized.
Yeah, I saw in my mirror they were getting pretty close, and then I knew they were going to start to battle from there. It was really hard to pass on the older tires with going low, so I knew it was going to be a little bit more of a slide job if a move was actually going to be made, and that could bring a little bit more trouble. But that didn't happen. We all held it together, and it was a good run for everybody on that podium there.
Yeah, fantastic run from all of you guys. Just a few cautions thrown in the mix to keep things a little interesting and some different strategies at play. So super fun for us. I know it's fun for you out there piloting the number 50. And Jacob, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make it happen for you?
Yeah, I want to thank you for doing the broadcast for us, everybody in the league for showing up and providing such a great racing product. I want to thank all the admins with me, Johnny, Devin, Randy, Robert, Nathan, Dade. They all helped me put this together. I want to thank all the viewers watching, and I want to thank the league's sponsors, MMPenta Designs and Designs by Trouton. They make this thing stick together.
Awesome, Jake. Couldn't do it without you guys and the racers. Congratulations again, man, and hope to have you up here. I think it's next week and then an off week, but again, hope to have you up here very soon.
Yep.
That was Jacob Bradley bringing it home in the top spot here at Rockingham. He was accompanied by Mr. Ellis Thomas and the other newcomer, Hunter Gio, rounding out the top 3. On behalf of the Spark Racing League, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for spending your Wednesday night with us, and we'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.